If you were a newly elected member of Congress, which issue would be your first priority and why? Hello, my name is Ethan Bernhardt and I'm a junior at Barberton High School, and this is my civic engagement project for AP Government. Being a newly elected member of Congress, I would first write a bill to federally mandate that all public colleges and universities should be required to make standardized tests optional on all of their applications. I believe that colleges should only look at standardized tests as an optional merit. Colleges need to focus on other elements of the application, such as essays and grades. Standardized tests themselves need to be altered to adhere to the curriculum or should be completely replaced with something that better represents students. Now first, let's define what the heck a standardized test even is. According to the Glossary of Education Reform, a standardized test is any form of test that 1. Requires all test takers to answer the same questions in the same way, and that 2. Is scored in a standard or consistent manner, which makes it possible to compare the relative performance of individual students or groups of students. This so-called standard is forced onto all students nationwide under the Every Student Succeeds Act of 2015. U.S. News and World Report highlights that this act ensured that public school students must take state standardized tests in mathematics and English language arts annually in grades 3 through 8 and once during high school. Now, all states are required to provide standardized tests to show improvement of students in the curriculum, but the main focus of this documentary is for standardized testing that is submitted to college applications. These would be tests such as the ACT and the SAT. Side note, I will not use the advanced placement tests as even though they are standardized, they are not required and are up for the student's discretion to take. This 2017 map shows states that require the SAT and ACT or both. As you can see, there are many states that recommend these standardized tests, but do not require students to take them. I fully agree that these states shouldn't force students to take them, as not all high schoolers plan to go to college. On the other hand, I do believe that some states that make their own forced standardized tests are even worse than the ACT and SAT, and cannot be used for applications anyway. My solution would be to completely eliminate these problems previously mentioned. Now, since I'm in love with maps so much, here's another map from 2019 that shows states that allow these tests for free for the first time when a student takes them, which benefits lower income students. If these tests were available for free and optional nationwide, then it would truly be up to the student's decision in their future. I understand that these tests need to make revenue, but the corrupt thing about these tests is that they profit off students in the states without them being free. Now that I've explained some issues with standardized testing, I will now explain how colleges deal with these tests on college applications. College admissions officers often have many important details to consider when it comes to deciding on incoming college students' applications. Many colleges have different requirements to submit in order to have a chance of getting admitted. Recently, MIT, which is one of the top private universities in the US, has rolled back on a decision to be test optional during the pandemic. They claimed that the requirement reinstated in order to help us continue to build a diverse and talented MIT. MIT's decision would still be justifiable within my new bill, as they are a prestigious private school and can enact their own requirements, as long as they do not interfere with civil liberties or affirmative action. And it would only make sense for these universities like MIT to reverse this decision as they want to be more inclusive in their requirements. But public colleges should not have this privilege. According to a report by Urban Institute, they found that the number of colleges with test optional policies has nearly doubled from 713 to 1,350 since spring 2020. 47% of those institutions were public colleges/universities. Another article from Inside Higher Ed found that 80% of four-year colleges are now test optional. It is becoming clear that this trend was fueled by the pandemic as standardized testing was completely altered. These tests were forced to go online.
Potentially, when those standardized tests for most universities will be phased down, if so, what are the methods by which universities, schools, are assessing students for acceptance?
Right, it's a great question. And 2 years into the pandemic, we see just a range of responses and reactions. If you look out west to California, you have the University of California system has gone test blind, or as many people call it, test free. They're not, if you send an SAT score, the admissions folks in those institutions won't even look at it. And it seems that California State University system, the largest in the country, is poised to go the same route. And some other big name private institutions have more or less put off the decision. whether or not to permanently go test optional and stop requiring ACT or SAT exams. They'll be making those decisions in the years to come. The short answer...
Yeah, go ahead and finish up. Yeah.
Yeah, the short answer is that many colleges have gone without testing for years, if not decades. And the bulk of what they're looking at has always been and remains the same. And that is, what courses did you take in high school? What was the rigor of them? And what grades did you get?
These tests fail to present college readiness. A study by 2 University of Chicago researchers found that the GPAs of 55,084 Chicago students were 5 times stronger in indication of college readiness than their ACT scores. This means that these tests don't predict the future success of students. Now, I do believe my hypothetical bill would have an immense impact on college students and admissions for the better. A student's overall knowledgeable ability should not be summed up into a 3-hour test, and if that student feels bad about their score, they have to pay more money to better it. Yes, college isn't free, but limiting someone's chance to get the education they strive for shouldn't be required and is against the betterment of their future. Thank you for watching.